If you'd like me to mix a record for you, there's a link in the description for all of my YouTube viewers to get 25% off my engineer's booking link. If my mix price is still way out of budget for you, shoot me a DM on Instagram or a message on YouTube, and I will do my best to work with your budget that you currently have available to you at this time. Thanks for your support, and I hope you guys learned something in this video. Peace. Hey everybody, so I'm going to be doing Let's Mix a little bit differently from here on out. I'm going to break up each video into roughly 30-minute sections, upload them in parts, and do both a non-commentary and a commentary version of the videos. The commentary version is going to be the exact same as the non-commentary version. I'll just be talking over it and explaining my thought process. I can't mix and commentate at the exact same time. One thing gets neglected. I either don't fully articulate my thoughts the way that I would like to, or the mix doesn't turn out as good as it possibly could. So in order to combat that, you're going to get two versions of each video. All of this in an effort to make sure that you guys get the best possible knowledge and information while also getting my best version of a certain mix. So without further ado, here's the video. So now we're bringing the vocals in. Right here, I'm just kind of checking balance things, panning things. You know, just getting that stereo image going. Really nice harmony stack right there. Now, high-passing vocals, depending on who recorded it, can be great, but also if a good recording engineer did their job, they'll probably just filter it on the mic on the way in. Now, I'm immediately reaching for compression, which as you noticed, I just turned it off. And now I think I'm going to go for balcony left because I am obsessed with it. Oh no! Abbey Road Saturator. Now on her, I didn't think that this was the right move. That like 5K, 4K just makes it too sizzly. That's why right here I'm switching to a different saturator. So I'm not compressing immediately. I'm actually using saturation instead because I wanted like harmonics, but I didn't necessarily want to mess with the dynamic range just yet. Immediately that has less weird artifacts. Abbey Road Saturator can be really cool. It just depends on your source material. So right here, I'm copying this whole starting chain to every vocal track, partially because I want to send the reverbs from each individual track, and I want what's being sent to the reverbs to be processed, and I don't want to do all of that from the bus. Also so that I have independent control over the pans of the reverbs, depending on where something is, depending on where a certain track is panned. So to oblige the send pan plus get the processed version sent to the reverb, we're gonna do every track individually. I have a pretty nice computer at this point, so this isn't really hurting at all, but I know that some people might not have the luxury to do this, so I understand. So tell me something, baby, I already know. Now is this... Okay, so I sent the lead vocal to a width bus using micro shift. Sound Toys, great plugin, great plugin. I would note some reverb. So I started with the Abbey Road plate. Give it a listen. So tell me something, baby, I already know I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. Nice, like, haunting texture. Baby, I already know you're pretty sure I'd change it. It's like, oh, this part right here. I wanted that I can't get you out of my head. I wanted that to really jump out. So we're just turning it up, turning the phrase up. I can get you out of my To me, it sounds like that recording hits a compressor a little too hard. Or maybe she moved while she was recording. I don't know. I went back to the beginning here where it's just her voice and the guitar to really hear what the reverb's doing. I'm trying to get some sleep, but all I see is you when I close my eyes. I'm trying to get your heart back, but I know if I try, it's just gonna. So right there I used the built-in EQ on the reverb plugin to pull some of the highs back, because it felt a little too like shrill. Yeah, I put balcony left all over this mix because I'm still demoing it at the time, but I'm just trying to get a feel for it. And I'm pretty sure for the next couple minutes I go through and automate a bunch of phrases just to bump them up a little bit. Now, if you'll notice right here, I'm doing it on the vocal fader, the vocal bus fader, the lead vocal bus fader. Because that's post-insert. So I want these volume changes to happen after the compression happens, which I haven't added that yet, but I'm going to. I know I'm going to, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to just take care of this now. Again, obliging to the levels first, then EQ and compress if you really need to. Speaking of, I got distracted, but I high-passed the vocal because there's quite a bit of rumble down below, like 100 hertz that you just don't need in a vocal. But if you record it with like the high pass built into the mic, that won't be there. So a couple different ways you could capture that. Laying on my bed, I'm staring at the ceiling, thinking about the last time that we talked. Please just leave right there. I noticed that I didn't like the trail on that reverb. So we're using Neoverb. Is you when I close my eyes. I'm trying to get your heart back, but I know if I try, it's just gonna be like the last time. No quiero tenerte, tampoco perderte. You just keep on playing with my mind. So Neoverb is another isotope plugin that is awesome. I like the Reverb Assistant because you can pick a general idea for the verb you want, and then it'll analyze it and make a custom pre-EQ curve for you. It's just really, really clean. Like, no weird artifacts. That being said, like, oh, again here. Really want that I can't get you out of my head to jump out at you. Plates are great, but they do have like a plate sound, and sometimes like that plate sound doesn't complement the source as much as you would like it to. And like on a lead vocal, unless there's a very specific thing going on, like aesthetically, I kind of just want the reverb to be an extension of what the vocal sounds like, and I think Neoverb does that really nicely. Right here, now we're finally putting some lead vocal compression in. Man, I'm barely hitting it. It's like maybe -2. Like all the emotion in an artist's voice is in their dynamics and how they inflect their voice, and a lot of that inflection comes from the dynamics of it. So you don't want to strip that away, you know? Right here, I'm just trying to make sure that the level of the vocal is the same before and after the compression. Again, just going through and very subtly automating up certain phrases. But like, she has a great voice and it's a really good recording, so like I don't need to be using a million plugins on here. I had a high pass EQ, which is hardly doing anything, but it's really just kind of cleaning up the low end so that what actually is in the low end helps. But yeah, you know, saturate it a little bit, give it a gentle squeeze maybe. Obviously, the vibe of the song dictates everything, but like, this song is very like reminiscent of a past relationship, so you don't need to squash it. You gotta feel what she's feeling. So tell me something, baby, I already know I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. And tell me something, baby, I already know you're getting closer now that I'm gone. I can get you out of my head, can't go on like this. I just need more of your taste, baby, one more. If you guys notice it's very little compression, but the saturation built into that compressor is just, it like turns the lights on. It's really nice. So what I tend to do a lot is I'll get the lead vocal sounding good, and if it's the same vocalist in a close mic'd recording of the same person for background vocals and everything, I just copy the lead vocal chain down to the other layers to start, and then I'll tweak them as I go. I don't tweak these for a little bit. I'm pretty sure I kind of go back and forth to the music and some other stuff, but I know that that treatment sounds good for this singer, so we can start there, and then depending on what each layer needs, we can affect it differently. For the doubles, they're going to get their own reverb. As you can see, I'm doing the opposite send pan thing that I probably sound like a broken record about at this point. But for doubles, they're really just there for reinforcement. So the idea is treat it like a lead vocal and kind of sit it in the back, and if you need to, maybe like spread it out a little bit. A different reverb is nice because it helps distinguish between the lead and the doubles. Here I'm using Valhalla. Again, copying the lead vocal chain down. You can hear the chorusing between the double track and the lead vocal really come up when I throw that compressor on there. But I think it's conflicting with the lead vocal, so what I'm doing here is setting it to the modulation bus for the vocals. And we're gonna, again, do the panning thing and put it through like a chorus, I think. I forgot to take it off of the all doubles bus, which I know. I just need more of your taste, baby, one more kiss. I can get you out of my head, can't go on like this. Me mata tu silencio, me matan tus palabras, how did we get to this? This looks like I opted for Magic Switch over the chorus. And having the double and the lead vocal share effects is another way you can get them to glue themselves together without using tons of compression. Because now they're sharing a space. Man, it's bothering me that I didn't turn the modulation send off on the doubles bus. It's okay, maybe I do it later. We'll see. Now for the background vocals, copy it all down. Grab that balcony left. Again, I'm really just copying down the lead vocal chain to start, but I will change it quite a bit as things go. Now, in this template, I have 3 vocal verbs like set up in advance, so I can very easily just get things going. I don't have to think about setting up new octaves and stuff. Having the background vocals share another completely unique reverb in contrast to the doubles and the lead vocal also help them kind of get their own sort of dimension. I remember I selected the bright preset for the reverb assistant because it doesn't necessarily need to have all that low end, and kind of it seats the background vocals further in the back, because the further away you get from something, the more low end it loses first, and then at the very end of it all you'll just hear a little bit of high end or a whisper. If you don't believe me, then you should get a friend, go outside and back up from each other and keep talking. Eventually you're only going to hear mid-range and then only high end, and then nothing. Very minimal EQ move, just to, you know, clear up a little bit of quote-unquote mud. May or may not be necessary, but for these backing vocals, like I just said with like distance, you kind of want them high and tight, so a way to do that is decrease the amount of lows and low mids. I'm not a tone meister either. I'm not sitting here like, oh, it's exactly this frequency that needs to go. It's less lows, less or more lows, less or more mids, less or more highs. The more complicated you get, the less natural it's gonna sound. An interesting thing here is because I'm sending these reverbs on the individual channels, and now I'm adjusting the overall stack with a different fader that is further down the signal chain than that send. If I turn down the inserts, it's gonna not affect how much, sorry, if I turn down the bus volume, it's not gonna affect how much is sent to the reverb. So I like the blend of the background vocals, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna turn the whole entire group down, but again, they're still getting the same amount of reverb, so that's what I'm doing here, is turning that reverb down. Oh yeah, these are double tracks, so I wanted them panned. All these panning moves are to make sure the lead vocal is the lead vocal the whole time, and everything else kind of gives it a nice hug. balance is everything, as you guys can tell. I'm just very methodically and maybe obsessively tweaking just volume levels very subtly. But that's what is gonna separate the good mixes from the bad mixes, from the great mixes. Bring that little funky rhythm guitar up a little bit. So I actually mixed this song once before for Let's Mix, but I didn't like how that video came out, so I'm redoing it in a different format and stuff. And this is something I did in the first one, which was automate the panning of this swell from left to right. And then something that I did in this version that I didn't do in the original was automate the send of the pan to be the opposite of how the actual track is panned. So it goes left to right there. I think I turned it down a little too much. Yeah, I turn it up more. Yep, right there. Cool. I think right here is where I have the idea. Oh no, clearly not. I scroll all the way back down. So tell me something, baby. I already know I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. So right here, I am going to clip gain up just these parts of the background vocals because they're quite a bit quieter than the rest of the background vocals, and I just couldn't hear him. So tell me something, baby. I don't really know. I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. I think I eventually realized that I haven't tweaked the compression on any of these other, right here, on any of these other backing channels. Like, it's not doing anything. Not that it needs to do a lot, but a little squeeze, you know. Maybe I'm like, it's fine. These two layers also need to get panned, so they're going up to the left and right tracks. This is the compression on the main double track. Again, like -2, you know? Nothing crazy. Wait, did I leave that one bypassed? I'm gonna go back and rewatch that. Hold on. So it turns out I didn't leave it bypassed. That's good. Okay, at this point, the top secret all reverb. This is an idea I got from someone, I cannot remember who. But basically, you send everything melodic in the mix, including some bass, to a reverb, a very long reverb. Now, this only works on the right kind of song, but this one is a very dreamy sort of vibe, so it fits the requirements perfectly, if you will. The idea is glue. This is another way you can get glue without a whole bunch of compression, you know? Now, obviously that sounds like way too much, but you'll notice the fader gets put down to like -30 or something. For whatever reason, I turned the decay up to like 11 seconds. And then eventually that. I realize that's too much, but... This is something that takes a little bit of massaging to get right, but it is really nice. A little tape saturation on the vocals. All the vocals. So this is going across their effects and the groups. Sweetens it up. I mean, the preset is called Sweeten, but it's really nice, you know. Remember, I only have one EQ on the vocals. It's that high pass. This is a top tier demonstration of the right mic for the right voice, and just a solid take and recording. And then just using saturation to enhance it. So right here, I remember thinking this second chorus doesn't like hit as hard as I want it to. And what I thought that was actually because the tom roll was just too loud. So turning that down. The rest of that drop kind of like blooms. You can see it start above my head even more. A little more snare, you know. Snare is the backbeat. It's really important. The snare in this song doesn't need to rip your head off, but if it's not there at all, then that's also equally problematic. Just adjusting the level of those delayed vocals. Trying to listen to make sure that all verb is a good idea, you know. That's why I closed my eyes and looked away for a second. Realized I couldn't really tell that much of a difference, so I realized maybe it needs just a little bit more. Now we're about to get into Mixhead, which is the saturation plugin. I'm not going to talk, I'm going to let you guys hear what this does. I A/B it very briefly. Really, really subtle, sort of just chip away at the process. Don't do too much heavy lifting in any given spot. I use the Serbian preset quite a bit. That's basically a little bit of high end added to the whole mix and a little bit of digital saturation across the board, and it just has this really nice musical saturation that I love across the whole mix. One more kiss, I can get you little pricey for a plugin, but man, it sounds good. So right here, this warning message pops up, and what it's telling me is that my group of effects is active, and I didn't realize that in this template I have the all reverb that everything gets sent to assigned to the same group as my music effects. So it's gonna basically change the automation of the returns on all of my musical effects, which you'll see in the second half of this video. I end up undoing all of it. I need to change that in the template, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Laying on my bed, I'm staring at the ceiling, thinking.
So in this part, you can really hear all the reverb.
Please just leave my head. I'm trying to get some sleep, but all I see is.
But because this song starts out with her saying laying on my bed, and like it's the setting the stage for the song is kind of like it's just her in her room. I didn't want it to be all grand and whatever. I just wanted it to be a little bit more intimate. So I take a lot of it out in the beginning and then have it automate up as the first pre-chorus starts, as you see right here. And I end up doing this for all of the vocal effects actually, and it really helped the scene changes. Something I'm going to be doing from now on, honestly.
So tell me something, baby, I don't really know. I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. And tell me something.
The whole second pass of this video is me adding ozone to the mix bus and then automating effects more or less throughout the whole song. And there's a moment where I like get chills. I'll point it out once we get there. I'm pretty sure the problem I'm trying to figure out right here is just less reverb, where I could just turn it down, but I ended up trimming the whole thing back a little bit on the all verb. And that's what I was saying earlier. This is something that takes quite a bit of massaging, but when you get it right, it just creates this ambiance across the whole track that you can't really get any other way. Right there, I'm listening to How Long It Decays. By doing this, also, you kind of create like a pad that is made up of the entire song, minus the drums, because if you put the drums in here, it gets kind of weird. I'm also realizing maybe it's decaying too long, so I set it back to what Neoverb gave me. Start dancing. Man, if you aren't getting to a point where you're like moving in your seat as you mix, then you are not doing a good job. I mean, if the song calls for that, right? This has a nice groove. You should be swaying a little bit, you know? If it's a ballad, you might not want to be dancing, but you should feel it in your heart. Some very subtle guitar tweaks. Spreading the pan out more on that.
So tell me something, baby, I already know I wanna love you.
Yeah.
But I've been feeling so low, and tell me something.
This is how I know I'm on the right track. I started dancing like that, you know? Oh, dude, air drums? Come on now.
I can get you out of my head, can't go on like this. I just need more of your taste, baby, one more kiss. I can get you out of my head, can't go on like this. Me mata tu silencio, me matan tus.
You're supposed to be having fun, so you're supposed to be enjoying what you're doing, guys. You know, like. Right here, I tried getting a little more click out of the kick and then realized that it's a pillowy kick. You don't need to do all that. Way too much. Live drums are, again, I'm gonna get back on this topic, are very interesting because like your kick sound is shaped very heavily, not just by the mic choice, but like the size of the drum, what material the heads are made out of, what material the beater is made out of. And then all of that is captured by 2 mics or 1 mic, depending on how you do it. Some people use 4 kick drum mics, but at the end of the day, get it right at the source. You know, if you want it to sound live, if you're gonna go through and modify the shit out of it, then that's a whole different thing, but yeah. Adding an 1176 to the rhythm guitar, just because I want to turn the lights on a little bit, you know? That balcony left really, unlike a lot of other 1176s, like, or not unlike, but in a different way, just kind of makes whatever you put through it stand up. For those of you that don't know, an 1176 is a really fast compressor, and when I say fast, I mean the attack and release are very quick. Even the slowest settings on those attacks and releases is still leaps and bounds faster than it is on like an LA2A. So I tend to have it attack as slow as possible, which again is still pretty fast, and then I have it release as fast as possible, so you're just barely squeezing it, and it just retains the musicality really nicely. Here's where I get the idea to automate the pan of that little swell the opposite way that the actual thing is panned. I think I also send it to another effect.
So tell me something, baby, I already know I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. And tell me something, baby, I already know you're getting closer now that I'm gone. I can get you out of my head, can't go on like this. I just need more of your taste, baby, one more kiss.
Now I see why my keycaster double captured. I'll fix that on the next one. My apologies. Try to ignore it.
So tell me something, baby, I already know I wanna love you, but I've been feeling so low. And tell me something, baby, I already know you're getting closer now that I'm gone. I can get you out of my head.
Now I'm kind of just like enjoying the song, you know, like done all this work to get it to this point, might as well enjoy.